Fashion Podcast. And primarily, what we're going to talk about today is the internet has changed business forever. So make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that, you comment. Also, make sure that you share with your friends and family as well, too. Um, what we primarily have been talking about on season 2 in this series is building a product from nothing and, building your brand through those products. So let's get into it. The main thing is the modern entrepreneur now owns the ability to build businesses without gatekeepers or traditional gatekeepers involved. You know what I'm saying? There are some, limitations in some, areas with revenue, um, lapses with how some platforms are set up, but ultimately there's more free range and more ability to be seen on a global scale than just, in your local community. You no longer need, permission to have a community. Number one is direct to consumer power. Businesses can now connect directly to the consumer and the customers that, are there to support the brand with, website and e-commerce setups, digital branding and independent ownership of, not only your name, but the, products and services that your brand ultimately is providing. Social media has removed many of those barriers just because you can also set up, shops. The brands that, you partner with can, set up their shop in your platform. And, along with that, uh, you can actually get into, uh, more partnerships just because people can see you on a bigger scale. Independent brands, can be global instead of just, local or national from the gate, you know what I'm saying? Just because they have, that direct to consumer ability and the internet gives you that ability, you feel me? Not only just with, those e-commerce setups, but with platforms like Google Shop for your product where it can align with other comparable products and people giving you people to actually look at the product without just your website being set up. Um, Number two is the media infrastructure is pretty much the new norm now. That's gonna how this is how you're gonna be able to build authority for your business with the foundations that you have already started to build. Then on top of that, what I'm saying, the content becomes now more of marketing instead of just promotion. Especially with short form and long form, and even the IRL stream. Now everybody pretty much wants to be a content creator. It's not always good for the business, but it's a way to adapt to the times. And with podcasts, it gives people an opportunity to show more of a personal side through their business. And also with the YouTube content, like I said, with the short form and long form content, gives you an opportunity, whether the brand direction is through information or entertainment. And then you know uh the short form content is king right now because of the simple fact that a lot of people have shorter attention spans. So if you're able to put in a solid hook, it's quality content, and then you have a clear call to action for the products that you're trying to sell, then what I'm saying, it's going to be uh, high conversions for your product. Number three is adapt. You know, the formal business model has quickly, evolved and changed. Like I said, now you have the ability to completely own everything that you put out there through trademarks, copyrights, Then on top of that, like I said, you're even able to buy your own name. So the revenue that you're able to get is at a higher rate instead of having a middleman incorporate, different things and different fees that, are unwanted. Innovation, what I'm saying, matters as well too. This gives you the ability to, what I'm saying, reinvent yourself when, times are tough for the brand. You know what I'm saying? You have the ability to influence customer behavior by your ability to adapt to the times. Sometimes it's not always about following the trend, but just being on par with what's going on helps you to be relatable to the customer. You know what I'm saying? Attention always shifts on a constant basis, especially with how, these different platforms change the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you want to do things a certain way just because the attention is shifting towards that. Sometimes you just got to stick to your guns. Sometimes it is good for the brand too, tap in. That's why, you just got to understand what different platforms are for and understand the direction of what your brand is there for and what it's there to do. And that's how you're able to actually set up and actually flourish and actually, have moments where you do go viral with your original content. So definitely keep those things in mind. Like I always say, it's always good to do solid research, come up with a solid plan, execute that motherfucker, and your dreams and goals will come to fruition. Keep visualizing your purpose. I am out.
Thank you guys for watching another episode of A Lot of Fashion. We appreciate you guys for liking and subscribing and also staying tuned through the whole episode. Make sure that you take these business gems and start visualizing your purpose. I am out.